Hey everyone, welcome to another fantastic episode of the Electronic Cafe. This is the episode where Mark and I talk to a dear friend of the Electronic Cafe, one of the guys that really sort of helped put us on a map, couldn't do enough for us in the early days and has remained a great friend, the legend that is Rusty Egan. We're talking about his amazing new Blitzed album compilation that's coming out on CD and vinyl. Mate, he's never short of a few words, is Rusty, is he? But he was in great form, I thought.
Really good to talk to him because, we mentioned in the interview, Rusty was the eye of the storm at Blitz. He was the DJ at the club. I mean, he introduced so much music to so many people in that era, and certainly was fundamental in that electronic scene at the time. And equally, we also mentioned that over the last 40 odd years, there's been so many new romantic compilations, electronic compilations, so-called Blitz compilations.
Yeah,
great that Rusty has finally got his own one out there, being the DJ himself at the club, and just said, this is the music I was playing, and here's the box set. Fantastic.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. Totally agree. And can't wait for the album to come out. Really exciting time for him. It's just nice to see him getting, as you quite rightly say, him getting a bit more recognition. And I think, younger generations are starting to understand what a contribution he made. As you said, he brought so many bands and artists to us when we were growing up, and, got a lot to thank him for. So
let everybody else hear what we heard, and let's jump in and have a chat with the legendary Rusty Egan. I went to a talk about 8 years ago it was compared by Robert Elms, and it had Gary Kemp was there and Pauline Black was there, and they was talking about the 80s. They was talking about the Blitz Club and everything. And I had a conversation with Robert Elms. Actually, we was both standing at the urinal having this chat about the Blitz Club.
As you do.
As you do, and I was saying that it was a moment in time. There was you, there was Visage, there was Spandau, there was John Galliano, there was Sade, there was photographers, there was fashion designers. It was an explosion from one point, the Blitz Club.
Welcome to a fabulous interview edition of the Electronic Cafe. We're pleased to have here today not only one of our biggest friends, but an absolute legend and an early support for us, which we can never thank him enough for. And we're talking about his amazing new box set that's out later this month, the fantastic Mr. Rusty Egan. Sir, welcome to Electronic Cafe, mate. It's lovely to have you here again.
Hi, Rusty.
Welcome, Andy. Welcome, Andy. Nice glasses. Christmas present, birthday present. Yeah?
Yeah, something like that, mate. But yeah, really
very nice.
Cheers, mate.
I've got a pound shop. Hey.
Congrats on the Blitz box set. I know we were talking about it earlier, but I'd love to know, how did that all come about, mate? I mean, for us, it's long overdue, and we're so pleased for you. But how did that all come about in terms of the label and your set list and stuff?
I was at the Isle of Wight Rock Festival, and I met this guy there who's a bit of a record collector.
Right.
And we had a chat about Blitz, and I said, I'll never get Bowie. I'll never get, it'll be impossible to do it. It has to be a major label. And he said, have you heard about Demon? And I went, didn't they put out the John Luongo and, they put out classic collections, and then when I logged on and saw what they'd done, it was so impressive. I said, yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah, but it has to be all the odd records, the ones you couldn't get hold of, Laurie and the Chameleons, and we did try. So all the ones we couldn't get, I said, but why don't I just do a Spotify playlist? And there's 259 tracks on the Spotify playlist, and then I think it's 66 on the CDs, and then there's the vinyl. And then we chose to run in order exactly what version. And a lot of them I'd forgotten about, Holiday 80s Human League EP with rock and roll and nightclubbing and all these odd things that I did play. But I had kind of forgotten that it was on an EP of 2C,
Listen to the voice of Buddha. Sing, stop your sericulture. Little people like your offspring, boil the life for some god sucking. Buddha's watching, Buddha's waiting.
Rusty, I mean, over the years, there's been countless new romantic compilations. There's been countless so-called Blitz compilations. I mean, it's long overdue. I mean, after all, you were the centre of the storm there. You were the eye of the storm. You were the DJ at the Blitz Club. So it makes total sense that you put out kind of the official Blitzed box set.
It would have been even nicer if it was called Blitz and not Blitzed. And exactly what you just said. There have been numerous fake Visages that don't even have any members of Visage in it. There are people putting out rubbish copies, imitations of other bands, loads of people, and you buy some of this stuff and you go, oh, this doesn't sound right. Now, we know that, but like a million people out in Sweden and all around the world just think you just released a crap record. So even though there's no money involved, I don't want my name on that crap. I'm like that. It was good to be able to be a part of and listen to every single track and say, oh, I've got to have that. Hamburger Lady by, what a weird track that was, So lovely to see I got Down in the Park. Being boiled, the fast product version.
Yeah, Mark was saying you're absolutely the right person, as it should be. When you were curating it, it must have brought back a flood of memories for you.
Well, yeah, of course. If our little community since 2008, I was out 20 years, but since 2009, when I did a remix of Moby, and I didn't even know how to work a digital recording studio again. I just remember the old way to do it. I had not visited most of these tracks in that time. I don't listen to Spotify. I mean, I'm not a fan. That's why. And I hate Apple. So I like vinyl and CDs and my own headphones. And yeah, it would be good to be sitting right where you are right now with no kids running around and say, you know what, I'm going to put on that album and I'm going to kick back. And when I did that with this album, you are right. I welled up half the time, But a lot of it was because I know all the people involved. Like you look at Cowboys International, you know, I visited him, Ken, I visited him in America, and he went to New York and had a big hit in New York, and he never came back. He married an American, and then he also ended up doing out in the wilderness, being a dad, you know, doing some shit job. And there are some really amazing people in this list. Thomas Lear and Robert Rental, you know, pioneers, you know.
Too far, communicate like distant stars. Splintered voices down the phone. The sunlit dust, the smell of roses drifts on low. Someone waits behind the door. Hiroshima, mon amour.
Sorry, Rusty. There's two things that jump out to me on this. First thing is the number of tracks that you played at Blitzed. I mean, you know, you've got a Spotify playlist that runs in parallel to the box set and the CD. 250 tracks, 66 tracks on the CD, 36 on the box set. But equally, a lot of people always assume the Blitz Club to be totally electronic, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
You had magazines, you had Iggy Pop, you had the Glitter Band. There was a lot of stuff in there, great music, great compilation, but it wasn't, you know, just electronic.
Well, really, what you're saying there, Mark, is I was not a radio show. I was a club. If you went to Crocs in Rayleigh,
which we did,
to see Depeche Mode, they would not be playing It's Ladies' Night, okay? They would not be playing Oops Upside Your Head. That would have been everywhere else in Rayleigh. I had already been on top of the pop. Being rich kids had a big mouth, was running into the NME offices, running into Record Mirror, and I had a thing called a Futurist chart. Obviously had from Dagenham. I had Steve-O bringing me. You got to hear this band, The and Blancmange and whatever. So I sort of was a magnet for everyone because I was a loudmouth guy with a club pack full of great people, and I could tell what a great record was. But record companies was like me walking into Oxford or Cambridge like that and going, "Oh, you! Can somebody remove this man from the building?" All these records, Fad Gadget, you know, Iggy Pop, The Normal, Throbbing Gristle. It was like, this is the sound of the future, and you can dance to it. Never in a million years did they think that Soft Cell would make the biggest dance record ever, followed a few years later by New Order and Blue Monday. So the dance world would probably not recognise Rusty Egan as anything to do with the DJ world. They would be saying Carl Cox and Paul Oakenfold and these people are amazing at what they do. And they love electronic music.
Sure.
But this album is their school.
Yeah.
This is where they would have gone to school.
Let's do the milkshake, selling like a hot cake. Try some, buy some, beat by four. Talk about pop music. Talk about pop music. Shooby-dooby-doo-up. I wanna dedicate it. Pop, pop, shoo-up. Everybody made it. Shooby-dooby-doo-up. Infiltrate it. Pop, pop, shoo-up. Activate it. New York, London, Paris, Munich. Everybody talk about pop music. Talk about pop music. Talk about. Night clothing, we're night clothing, we're what's happening. Night clothing, we're night clothing, we're an ice machine.
This album, you've got some hard to find remixes and extended versions, which you've managed to discover.
as a crate digger, we all love that, don't we? You don't want to go and get an album and go, I've got them all. I've got everything. If you go there and say, oh my God, let me hear that mix. Oh, I've never heard that before. Oh God, that was the one. Oh, that was the mix.
Yeah. And mate, look, you're everywhere at the moment. I mean, we saw you on the cover of Blitz mag. I think you're in Electronic Sound magazine. It must feel good, now that seems that more and more people are realising just how much you contributed to that period of music. I mean, you, as Mark said earlier, you were certainly the eye of the storm. But I love the fact that it's funny. I got a copy of Blitz, and my daughters went past the festival. Went, God, look at Rusty. Oh, that's a great picture, And they didn't realise you because they're in their 20s. But
you used to be good looking.
Hey, mate, I know how you feel. but it's great. You must be pleased that you're getting this sort of resurgence, and quite rightly so, because me and Mark have championed you since we started this. But we're so pleased that we're seeing you in more magazines and more people, coming to your stuff like you did in Birmingham the other night. It must be pleasing for you.
Well, in Birmingham, I played 4 new songs from my next album. Yeah. And when I say I played them, I talked about them.
Right.
I pressed play, and Eric sang.
Eric video.
Yeah. And then when you read the list, I've just done a song with Claudia Brooken. I've done another song with Peter Hook. I've done a track where I got Wolfgang Fleur to narrate, tell the story. I got Zoya's Beheld, who did Gina X. I got Earl Slick and Glenn Matlock and me on a track that's not finished yet. As much as I love having people discover me, the music and the stuff I was involved in, the excitement of having Andy Mackay playing the sax on my song and Eric being a big Roxy Music fan. I mean, I'm making music today that I'm as proud of today. And when you look at that album, Welcome to the Dance Floor, and you go, look at the love that went into that album, And I could upload now or 30 seconds, put it on a loop and, and say, oh, it's my new record. Which David Guetta is just taking one line from What is Love? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, 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 put your hands up. What is love? And then they go, the guy's a genius. You go, no, he's not. Is on that album, Tony Hadley, and I have got a song with Tony Hadley, but it's Tony Hadley's song. So unless Tony Hadley says, look, Rusty, I don't like what you did, I just want to release it myself, and then I'll say, okay, but once you release, I will have a remix, and I'll call it a remix, because it's all me and my son. So I want this album and the covers that you're talking about and the coverage to be a warm-up for the fact that I've just got Ronnie to record Fade to Grey.
Oh, wow.
We've done it. It's finished.
Wow.
I got her out of retirement.
Nice one.
Zane Griff also sings Fade to Grey, and Chris Payne, me and my son are the band. Okay, let's have a dream. Mid-year, sang, I know he did it for me, thank you, Mitch, Glorious at the Albert Hall.
Yeah.
And I was there in the audience and my phone went off. You and a few other people were all there. And people were like, why aren't you on stage? You know, that kind of crap. And I'm like, but I'm a songwriter. I'm a songwriter there. And when he sings other songs, I'm a musician there. But yeah, I played on that song that he's performing. Or I co-wrote that song that he's performing. But when Chris, me and Mitch did Glorious, that was a moment for me that I thought, wow, this was the sound of Visage. This is who we were. Now, imagine this album comes out now and it opens up the door. And then I drop my new album. And with a bit of luck, like Kate Bush, my track is added to a Netflix TV show. And then millions of people discover Rusty Egan. And I get to do my 70th birthday at the Royal Albert Hall with Tony Hadley, Peter Hook, Midge Ure, Claudia Brook. And I mean, that is the dream, isn't it? That would be John Fox. Oh, my God. You know, yellow. I suppose that would be the dream, really. If you take away the carrot, the desire. I mean, when I meet arrogant people in successful careers, film, whatever, pop stars, I always like to remind them of, when was the first time you looked in the shop window and said, one day I'll have that guitar, one day I'll play on that stage, or one day I'll be in a band. And as you do those things, you know, I was that fan at the Marquee Club in 1975. I was in the audience for the Clash and, you know, all the punk days, and I was there at, you know, Kraftwerk and all the rest of it. And then I was on that stage. And when I played Hammersmith with Devo and I had the big screen and I had Kraftwerk on it, I remember them coming back to my house after playing Hammersmith Kraftwerk, you know, and moments like that. Yeah, this album, I could put it on and my life would flash before me, yeah, and every single song.
We repeat ourselves like crystals that dissolve and then they crystallize again. Words without thinking, the morning after ends. Ashes and diamonds, ashes and diamonds.
Rusty, before we go back to the Blitz box set, your album, any news on the release date, or when do you think it'll be out?
What happened was Simon and other people said, Rusty, you got to do the Blitzed album, and then it's the summer, and the Blitzed album's only just coming out, the 28th. So I said, well, I've got Fade to Grey ready now. And then someone said to me, did you know it's 45 years in November 2025? And I said, what? He said, yeah, you released Fade to Grey in November the 8th, 1980. And I'm like, I'm not waiting another year. I'm not waiting another year. I'm going to put it out in end of this year so that it goes into 2025. And then I'll follow with another single. And then I'll follow with the album. But the album will be like 40-something minutes aside, 20-something minutes aside. That's vinyl. Well, I've got way too much music, obviously. I've got a song called Best Friend. It's 9 minutes long. And then I've got Deepest Blues, 7 minutes long. And I've got Visions of You, which is like 7 minutes long. And I was like, right, you're up to about 18, 19 minutes, you know. And then I've got a couple of Synthpop 3-minute songs. And then I was like, And I'm basically trying to say I want to put the album on vinyl, and it's like brilliant track after brilliant track after brilliant track. I'm getting a great feedback on that. So I will release a vinyl album, I hope, of 22 minutes a side with Wolfgang Fleur and Claudia Brooken and Paula from Tiny Magnetic Pets. She sings on a song with David Brooks from Gary Newman. Which is again 6 or 7 minutes long, and her voice is angelic. It is an angelic song. So no, I mean, Eric done an amazing 2 songs actually, and then I've got Andy who did Hero. I've got him on 2 tracks, and then I've got a couple of other songs where I'm like, I wonder if. Well, I got Peter Hook. I wonder if Midge would do that. And the Tony Hadley one, I think, is fabulous, but they don't at the moment. I really want that album to have Tony Hadley, Claudia Brooken, Peter Hook, Wolfgang Fleur, Eric Stein, Paula Gilmer, Andy Huntley. Now, I think it'll be a great album to follow up Dance Floor. And then I've got a load of odd little ideas, and I'll make them bonus. So thank you for asking me about my new album, which will come in 225.
Yeah, we heard the track when we hosted your night at the Pizza Express about last year. And we obviously Paula did the track from your album, mate. Then it sounded amazing.
Ruby was there. Ruby was singing.
And Ruby, what a voice she's got!
Unbelievable voice, and she's on another track with me that lasts about 7 minutes.
Do you have a title for the album yet?
Yeah, it's called Romantic.
Welcome in high society. It seems so artificial, but should I
And then when I had the photograph by Peter Ashworth, the one that's on the cover of Blitzed, that's the cover of my album.
Yeah.
And then we took the gold writing and we put Romantic on it. And I said, that's it, I'm a romantic. The album is beautiful, it's orchestrated, it's strings, it's lush. That'll do. And then there'll be the bonus tracks. And it'll have Fade to Grey on it, and the bonus track might be Ronnie Fade to Grey.
Standing at the machine every day for all my life. I'm used to do it and I need it. It's the only thing I want is just to rush. Push. Cash.
And talking of Ronnie, we've been trying to get the Ronnie CD out. Lane Griff and the guy from Yellow Magic Orchestra did a track with Ronnie.
Wow.
That is on his Zane Griff album on Sony, I believe. I did Blue Cabaret on the Blitz soundtrack album, and I got Dim Zach, who I love. You got to follow him. I got him to do If You Want Me to Stay. So I'm trying to basically compile the 3 original singles, all the versions, all the additional mixes, remixes, and Fade to Grey, the new version, all on a Ronnie Discog CD. Because believe it or not, with this album here, Kraftwerk said yes, Radioactivity. They say no to 99%.
Yeah.
They said yes, they gave me clearance. How about that?
Nice.
So I'm like over the moon with that. So, I got Boy George track I did as well. So somehow or other, I'm trying to get everything I've done onto my new album, bonus tracks, digital, vinyl. It's a lot of work.
Just love the fact you've got all these amazing people getting behind you, mate. It's brilliant. And I, one of the things I was thinking was, and me and Mark were talking about this the other day, you got amazing reviews supporting Heaven 17. And I know you've been doing that stuff for some bands. And are you going to do some more of that?
What happened with Heaven 17 was I did Devo. It was a last minute call. I think Devo had someone who couldn't make it, and Rusty lives near Hammersmith. It was one of them, and they got the biggest screen there, and I was like, yes,
Amazing.
and I just showed up left and right. That's all I need. Plug in, no microphone. The door's open, and as the door's open, I'm playing Fade to Grey Cinematic, which is really beautiful and lush, the mix I did in 2009. And all these fans run to the front of the stage, and they don't know who I am, and they can hear the bass of notes. If you listen to Cinematic on your headphones, it is so beautiful. And then I create a 1-bar loop. So it's, oh, Fade to Grey, and that it becomes Radioactivity. I had that really loud with the Fade to Grey going over it, and then the audience could feel something, and then there was like maybe a couple of thousand people there by then, and then I let it go.
Für dich und mich im All entsteht.
And I kind of won this Devo audience over with this odd type of music, Tangerine Dream, Kraftwerk. And I played Blancmange, the Vince Clarke mix, I'm up a bloody tree. And I went down really, really well. And I think someone in that kind of touring world had a word with the promoters of Heaven 17. So that fucking Rusty Egan, he shows up, cost nothing, did an amazing show, bang on time, off stage perfect, and I'd already done a few shows, but I've got to tell you that 90% of the reason I don't do a lot is because a lot of people find me a little bit too much to have in the backstage dressing room area, including Mr. Medure, who likes his moment of quietness, and he likes to have a cup of tea and prepare, and he's going on stage and he's worked it all out, and there's this noise in the other room. Rusty! And I've got another 28-date tour. No way. So I fully understand it.
We're too vain to dance in the dark, sing in the rain, time on our hands, hope in our hearts. We were talking, was it strange?
But I'm doing Lytham Festival, 5 days, and Madness are headlining, so I've got to go off piste and go through my record bag and get Mirror in the bathroom.
Get your baggy trousers out.
Yeah, get me baggy trousers out. I'm doing a few bits and pieces here and there, but I like these Q&A things. So I'm doing something in Gosport, and I'm doing Wilderness, a couple of stages at Wilderness. I would actually say I'm really enjoying my life now. The 20 years in the wilderness, we all know Rusty came back bruised and scarred. More than anything, I was so upset that I couldn't make it up with Steve. I tried. I rode on a tandem bike. I went on a makeover TV show. I did a night at the Blitz Club. I offered me and Chris Payne and Robin Simon and started to write songs. But that guy, John Pitcher, is just a complete villain. And he robbed Steve and continues to rob Visage. But there you go.
But look at you now, mate. It's all looking good. You've got a great new album coming out at the end of June, which we can't wait to get our mitts on. And a new album in the pipeline. And honestly, mate, fully deserved. And we can't wait to get a hold of Blitzed. We'll see you at Rough Trade and the night before. So you're doing a night of Putney Pies, right? On the 27th?
With you. So I've got Thursday at Putney Pies, Friday in the actual Rough Trade. We might have an after party somewhere. Somebody's searching for somewhere now. Saturday night, I'll probably be doing a wedding. I'm joking. Yeah, I'll be playing the new Britney Spears album. And then the Sunday all day in Soho during Pride in an art gallery. And we're selling the Sheila Rock book, the Blitzed box set that I will sign there. We got some sort of new merchandise going on in there, all art related.
See the breaking glass in the underpass. See the breaking glass in the underpass. Warm, leatherette. Warm, leatherette.
Sitting in the shade of a rubber tree, I'll kiss you and you kiss me.
Pleasure Boys, the album cover of Steve, is by Mark Wardell. My Boy George track, The Mask of Boy George, by Mark Wardell. And Mark Wardell is doing my merchandise with me. So, and he also does Defected Records.
He does the Bowie face as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does all the Bowie. So really, this album, we nearly got the Blitz neon sign into that art gallery from the TV show Worried About the Boy. But it was too big. They couldn't fit it in there. So there's neons, there's clothes. So it's a Blitz sort of art, really.
Nice.
I've got Blitz Club artists showing in there. Hopefully Chris Sullivan. And talking of that, Boy George is going to be doing an art exhibition of his own art. He sent me some photos of his art. So maybe I'll start being an artist next.
Electricity, nuclear electricity, common fuels from the sea, wasted electricity.
Rusty, I've got one more question. Obviously, the Blitz box set's coming out, which is absolutely fantastic. Like you say, 45 years since the club coming up, and the club has gone down. As people look back now, legendary status for the Blitz Club. I went to a talk about 8 years ago with. It was compared by Robert Elms, and it had Gary Kemp was there and Pauline Black was there, and they was talking about the 80s. They was talking about the Blitz Club and everything. And I had a conversation with Robert Elms. Actually, we was both standing at the urinal having this chat about the Blitz Club.
As you do.
As you do, And I was saying that it was a moment in time. There was you, there was Visage, there was Spandau, there was John Galliano, there was Sade, there was photographers, there was fashion designers. It was an explosion from one point, the Blitz Club. I can't see that ever happening again, can you? It was phenomenal.
Yeah. All those people that you mentioned Can you imagine? It was a Tuesday night, and I remember some comedian talking about people being completely wasted off their faces during punk rock or something on a Tuesday. And we all know I hate Mondays. Everybody has to go bloody work 3 or 4 days a week, and then they can't wait, thank God it's Fridays, you know. So in the way the world worked, it was a Monday to Friday thing. So having all these waifs and strays taken into consideration, Mark, most of them hadn't done anything yet. Imagine, what are you doing, Tony Hadley? Well, I'm rehearsing with some mates, and we're a band, and we're called Gentry. We live in Islington, and we saw the Sex Pistols at the screen on the green, and we said, let's get a band together. But that was like 2 years ago, and we still haven't got anywhere. So Boy George was like 15. What are you doing? Well, my dad's a boxer, and my brother's a boxer, and, you know, I'm not welcome at home type thing. You know what I mean? But my mum loves me, and she comes to my squat and brings me dinners, you know, and does my laundry. So there were runaways, Marilyn, waifs and strays, bloke in a band. And there was me, having already toured the UK and collected people from all over the place. Sade, the most stunningly beautiful girl ever, who dated Robert Elms for a long time, was like a backing singer. She hadn't got the confidence yet to be a solo artist, you know. Lee, her manager, was like best friends with Steve Strange. So there was my flat, Princess Julia, Karen O'Connor, Billy Idol, the girls in Hot Gossip who got kicked out of Hot Gossip and started Spinooch. So there was Shock, an act playing around all the clubs, dancing to other people's music. There was me bringing Richard Burgess from his band. There was me bringing Magazine, as a big fan, Simple Minds. Chris Payne met Billy Curry, and he brought down Gary Newman, and supposedly Steve didn't let them in, or tried to not let the band in, said Chris Payne. So I didn't know any of that. Between me and Steve, and him in the fashion business, hairdressers, photographers, stylists, me, all the musicians, that's what our club was. We just put them all in the same room. And then when they heard Joy Division or Cowboys International or Dialect, I Love You, or Yellow, Bostitch, they stayed.
Then I looked at the sun, set. And it felt like stage set. It's a burning car. It's a burning car. Alright.
You won't believe this. David Essex was at the bar. And he was there because even the bar staff were very beautiful and attractive. And some of them were on model agencies and doing extra work. And then Rick Wakeman, who played on Bowie, he made a song called I'm So Straight, I'm a Weirdo. And he cast everyone from the Blitz Club, and they all showed up. And then an agency started called Uglies, and the Ugly agency was representing all these people, and they started being in adverts because they did anything.
I was in a car crash, or was it the war? But I've never been quite the same. Little white lies like I was there.
They all had these jobs, and I had this attitude, and I've always had it, and I tell up-and-coming artists, if you give out flyers outside a gig, one day you'll be on stage. Because you're only giving out those flyers because you're going to get 50 quid to keep you fed on baked beans and toast while you are writing your own music. It makes you humble. So when you are the DJ and then you clear up the tables and chairs after the gig and you sweep up and you're one of the crew with the bar staff. I've had many people come up to me and say, I used to work in Camden Palace. You were really lovely to me. But Steve...
Mate, listen, absolute joy. Thank you, mate. Look, thanks for being a good friend of our channel and supporter. Yeah, you've been amazing and massive luck with the Blitz album. And obviously, when the new album's out, love to talk to you about that when it's ready next year. And yeah, we can't wait for both of them. And mate, you know you're always welcome on the Electronic Cafe, so it's lovely to see you, mate.
Who else are you trying to get hold of?
Firstly, thanks, mate. Really appreciate this. Really looking forward to the box set. I mean, the packaging and the songs and everything looks amazing. So it's a really good job. It's
Yeah, hopefully I don't want to sound arrogant now, but you look at the packaging and Welcome to the Dance Floor, and you look at the Ultravox's remake, you know, the albums, all the covers, all the artwork. We are all still thinking in the old school way of vinyl, an album, the cover, you know, the artwork, the photographer. And yeah, I went through all that and got unseen photographs from the club and Peter Ashworth.
Cheers, man.
Hey, cheers. Take care. Thanks for your time, Russ.
Cheers, Russ.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
And then home. Oh, it's such a perfect day. I'm glad I spent it with you.
There's no regrets, no tears goodbye. I don't want you back. We'd only cry.